Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit and welcome to my After Hour Lounge. Today we're going to kick back in a nice big velvet chair with a rather large and busy glass of Death Road to Canada. It's by Mad Garden and Rocket Cat Games. I had the distinct pleasure, I'm not sure if that's the term I'd use, but we'll go with it, of playing this on stream using a bunch of custom characters. Because games are always more fun when you have custom characters, so let's do a round of it and show you what this is all about. As I slowly, stealthily adjust my microphone and hope that you won't notice. Right! So you'll see I have a selection of custom characters here if I head over to load. I've made quite a few different YouTubers. I think Strippin's the most accurate one there. I do like that one. And there is a mode in this game called Familiar Faces, which allows you to play with characters that you've created. Basically populate the world with them. So the guys you're going to meet along your trip to Canada to escape the zombies, because apparently there are no zombies in Canada for some reason, will be characters that you've made. So I think almost every game is more fun when you name characters after people that you know, especially when they betray you or murder you or get eaten by zombies. And then of course you can take their corpse and throw it across the room as a distraction. That is a thing you can do. Let's do it! We're going to play Familiar Characters mode. Absolutely. So, in order to do that, well, need to pick some characters. So, we'll grab myself. My perk is Friend of Dog. The characters have a perk and a trait. The perk is usually a good thing. The trait is usually an advantage plus a disadvantage. You know, it's got a pro and a con to it. My buddy will be... Let's see. We could bring Kung Fu Cox. Sheriff Cox right here. He's very effective. He is a martial artist, but is unfortunately very irritating, so tends to reduce the morale of those that travel with him, as you can see. So you start with 2 characters, and you can pick your various game modes. There's quite a few different ones, including extreme modes and a bunch of more difficult ones. So that's where a lot of the replayability comes in. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Death Road to Canada. So you might be thinking immediately, this sounds a little bit like Oregon Trail, or indeed the zombie version of that Oregon Trail. Yeah, to some degree. It definitely has an element of that. You've got the resource management, you're moving on the road, events will happen, but it also has this aspect where you wander around areas trying to get loot and fighting off the zombies in the process. So we can explore this hotel here. There might be some supplies. The sparse swarm of zombies shouldn't be too bad. We can head on in there, and we have our inventory right here. As I said, Sheriff Cox is a master of many martial arts, so we're going to leave him without a weapon. He's more effective. I have a piece of wood. Great. So you're able to equip with up to 3 different weapons, and of course you go into the area and try and loot it. The controls are done with the keyboard, no mouse control in the actual gameplay, although you can use that for menus, and it's quite convenient. Ooh, hello. What is this? Wow, a cowboy rifle in the first room. That is absolutely lovely. That allows me to demonstrate the shooting system to you, which is actually skill-based. I want to watch out for the ricochets there. So you get this little exploration element to it, and these rooms, I believe, are randomly generated, and you'll try and get some resources and try not to get eaten by zombies. There's no benefit to killing the zombies other than it gets them out of the way, so you generally want to conserve ammo, and weapons, of course, have a tendency to break, which is why I bring Kung Fu Sheriff Cox around, since he is extremely effective at punching zombies to death, as you can quite clearly see, and his punch does not run out of ammunition, so a very, very useful little perk to have. You'll be spending quite a lot of the game doing this. The time will pass, it will get dark if you spend too long there, so that's not too good, but you'll also have your maple leaf counter up there, which is how many days it's going to take you to get to Canada based on the current speed of your vehicle, and there are various vehicles that you can get, some of which are a lot better. The combat is very, very basic. You know, you just take a swing, or in the case of a weapon, it's skill-based, so you sort of aim in the vague direction, then it locks on, and then your skill determines how good the shot is. And you can skill up your shooting ability and your combat ability and various other things throughout the game. A lot of the attributes, interestingly enough, in this game are actually hidden. You don't know too much about your companions when you start, and you'll learn about them through various events. So you'll learn, for instance, after maybe trying to fix a car, that actually your teammate is really bad at mechanics, and, well, maybe he just made the wheels fall off or something along those lines, which is an interesting little element to it. You don't know how good your companions are at stuff, and you have to kind of guess, and you're learning a little bit more about your companions every time, as well as leveling up their various statistics. But this is what you're going to spend a good, I think, 70% of the game doing. It does tend to speed up once you get a larger group. I believe you can have up to 4 people with you, and they will automatically attack. The game does have a 2-player local co-op mode, which allows a friend to take control of the second character as well. But for the most part, once you've got a mob of people with some good melee weapons and combat skill, you can plow your way through the zombies without too many problems. And there are different variants of the zombies, but they mostly do the same thing. They're just a little bit stronger, or a little bit faster, or a little bit bigger, or look different. And as long as you don't let them grab you, basically stay next to you for a couple of seconds, you don't take any damage. But if you do, they'll bite you, and you can only take a couple of hits before your character permanently dies, which is certainly not ideal. Now, if anything, I'd say, this mode here is maybe the weakest part of it. To me, the game is more fun when you're simply wandering around the place. I think I'm actually going to trade out for this mop. That sounds like a great idea there. We're going to get rid of that. Now we have this mop, which will be great for clearing out the zombies, hopefully. For the most part, the fun of the game is encountering the various events and interacting with your companions and having really crazy things happen. And that gets infinitely more fun when you name all of your companions after people you know. In our stream, we were betrayed by Krendor to the bandits. He went and joined the bandits, and Jesse was killed in the ensuing firefight, which I found to be highly amusing. That's always going to be more fun in a game like this, because you're creating extra stories in your mind. The stuff that the game offers in terms of its events and its narrative is augmented by the fact that you're playing with characters that you know. So you sort of assign attributes and you make a little bit extra narrative fun with that. And I love it when games allow you to do that, and especially customize the characters with different attributes that may very well suit those particular characters as well. A little bit extra enjoyment. XCOM's about 10% more fun if you name your characters after your friends and get them horribly eaten by sectoids. Or chrysalids. Mostly chrysalids, especially when they're turned into chrysalids. This game has a fairly similar aspect to it. So here you'll see, some basic choices. I was able to get a bunch of food, but my characters are going to be more tired in the next encounter and all that sort of thing. Oh, it looks like we have to service the engine. This is one of those aspects I was talking about earlier. I don't know how good we are at these various different challenges. Let's try it. Looks like we've now revealed Jesse Cox's mechanical skill, which was actually awful, but as it turns out, his mechanical skill has now been increased, so he's going to be more useful at mechanical challenges later on in the game. There's a little bit of banter between the characters there, which I like. So every day you'll use a bunch of fuel, depending on what kind of vehicle you have. Some vehicles are tougher, some vehicles are faster, but they'll probably burn more fuel or can handle more people. Do you want to go to an infested stronghold or the furniture store? Hum-de-hum-de-hum. The infested stronghold probably has better stuff in it. This may very well be a mistake, but we'll give it a shot. Into the infested stronghold we go. And off we go. One thing I do like about it, which I have no idea why the music is what it is, but the music for this game I find very, very amusing. It's silly. I mean, have a listen to it. It's completely inappropriate for a zombie apocalypse, but considering this game is all about Canada, maybe it does fit. Reminds me of Transport Tycoon. That music is timeless. I will never, ever get sick of the Red Book audio from that particular game. I believe I played a version that had MIDI files as well, and that had a strange amount of charm to it. It's a very odd little game. A lot of the fun that you'll find in it is in its sense of humor. Quite similar to Reigns that I looked at yesterday, where a lot of what's keeping you going is wondering what crazy thing's going to happen next. This game has a lot of that, an example being that in one of my runs, Jesse's car was invaded by a demon. The demon demanded pizza. We only had crisps, but he seemed to accept that, and he imbued some demonic power onto Jesse, which turned his face bright red and also gave him a demon pitchfork, which was an indestructible and fairly powerful weapon. Encountering stuff like that is where the true fun of the game lies. And it's also, you know, where games like Oregon Trail tend to shine as well, and all the sort of choose your own adventure titles. The exploration part of it, it's not bad, it's definitely the weakest part of the game, I feel, because the combat doesn't really have an awful lot to it. There are at least a decent selection of weapons available, but the zombie variety and the enemy variety seems fairly low. We've had some encounters with bandits, and I was expecting to be able to maybe fight some bandits, so it would be a little bit different, and I'd be fighting humans with weapons instead of zombies, but all of those encounters seem to be solved by your character's skills. You know, they're events, they're text-based events, they're not actually these looting and exploration segments right here. These are all zombies. And it's not like these segments are unenjoyable. They can definitely get very frantic, and once you have a group of people with good weapons, they do tend to you can get through them fairly quickly, and they're not too infuriating. The problem is when you have a small group, it can be slow going and a little bit of a slog to just go through all these houses looting stuff, but it is absolutely necessary in order to actually survive in this game. So maybe if they could have done something to streamline this whole portion from the start, that would probably be quite helpful. Although you can, of course, start off with a bunch of characters who are very good fighters. Maybe just start off with a bunch of characters created as the martial artists or bruisers, and you could probably smash your way through here unarmed pretty easily. So maybe part of that is my own fault for making my character not particularly competent at combat, but it is the weakest element of the game. Do I find it, too boring? No, I don't. I think it doesn't necessarily outstay its welcome, and you can spend as long as you want in these little areas. They're not too large. You generally don't have to spend too long wandering about, but, definitely the weakest part of the game. This is the most fun. Wondering what crazy event will happen on the road next. Wondering whether or not I will be betrayed by Jesse Cox. That's always possible. I think I'm going to get Jesse to tinker, actually, see if he can learn a bit more mechanical skill. His mechanical skill's getting a little bit better there. That's nice. Although he's going to be a little bit tired tomorrow. Doing the resource management, seeing whether or not the game is going to try and screw you over, and it will. Encountering new characters, all that sort of thing. Do we want to fight? There's only 2 of us. I don't know. My guy's a martial artist. Should we give it a shot? Yeah, let's give it a shot. That was a mistake, apparently. But at least we kept a hand on our supplies. Took a little bit of damage, but that's not too bad. It is a fun little romp. That would be the best way I'd describe it. It's a fun little romp with a good sense of humor. It becomes even more fun when you put... Ooh. Do I want to... No, I don't want to give you that much gas, actually. I could even choose to rob him if I so desire. That might be quite amusing. Do I want shotgun shells? No, I don't think so. We don't have a shotgun right now. All of the little events that you come across are the most fun parts of the game. But one has to wonder how many events the game actually has. Hard to say, I don't know for certain. It does have a bunch of different modes, which certainly, I imagine, will help the longevity of it. But if you keep getting the same events over and over again, especially the funnier ones, which are the big surprises, then I think the veneer of the game is going to wear fairly thin. But I've played for a few hours so far, and I have enjoyed it. Hey, there's Dodger! We can recruit Dodger to the team. She's an oblivious explorer. Dodger's attitude, yeah, that... To be fair, I mean, those 2 little faces represent pretty much the Dodger I know, so that's cool. It is a fun little time, though. If you enjoyed things like the Oregon Trail, or indeed the Oregon Trail, and choose-your-own-adventure games like that, then I think you'll probably have a pretty good time with it. I really dig the sense of humor and the soundtrack. That very much resonates with me. I love the character creation. I like the art style. I think the film grain's a bit obnoxious, but you can turn that off in the options menu. Unfortunately, I don't believe you can tweak the options menu while you're playing. You have to actually get out of the game to the main menu to do that, which is, a little annoying. It's also one of the few games which allow you to throw furniture. Dead Rising was one of those. I think most zombie games, in order to be good zombie games, require the throwing of furniture. And if you don't do that, then you're probably doing it horribly wrong. So we'll grab this chair and do as we should with it. But yeah, if you like the silly humor, if you enjoy the soundtrack, if you're looking for an Oregon Trail style experience, and if you can tolerate the relatively samey looting and exploration aspect of it, it's a fun little survival and management game with enough wacky events and silly characters and amusing writing, I think, to be a good time for several playthroughs. I'm going to now get the hell out of here. I'm hoping that they will add more events to it. They'll add DLC, they'll expand it, because I think a game like this certainly lives or dies on that. We saw how great FTL got once they released the enhanced edition of that, and then the mods came out with the Captain's edition, all sorts of things like that. That really adds to the replayability of games like this. You always want to be encountering something new in a journey-style game like this. And the more events there are, the better it's going to get consistently. But I've enjoyed my time with Death Road to Canada so far. You might want to take a look at it. It's currently $15 or your regional equivalent, and I did a stream of this, which involved a number of amusing events. I'm going to pop that in the description below this video once it's uploaded on the unofficial channel, or of course you can check it out right now if you happen to be a subscriber to twitch.tv/TotalBiscuit. Death Road to Canada, ladies and gentlemen, available for $15 or your regional equivalent on Steam. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, by all means, do feel free to click the like button. If not, the dislike button is right over there. And do go and check out my other after-hour videos where I dig through some indie titles in search of the occasionally enjoyable, yeah, it's overlooked little gem. I'll see you next time.